Welcome to Advanced Typography. In this lecture, I'm just going to go over the format of the class because it's a little bit different than what you've had in the past and the expectations and overview of what we're going to accomplish this semester. The objectives in this course primarily focus on the fact that many of you are a little rusty in Adobe InDesign. You might not actually have that much experience working with it, and I've noticed that over the years students primarily try to use some of the software that they're more comfortable in, like Adobe Illustrator, and that's not really good practice when you're dealing with multiple pages. For this project, for this class, you're going to focus primarily on getting used to Adobe InDesign, using it to have advanced formatting techniques. You'll also be focusing on how to create visual consistency over several pieces, whether it might be pages or covers, etc., or posters, as well as creating variety while creating visual consistency. And you'll also kind of hone those research techniques. Some of you are not a big fan of research. Well, you're going to have to get over that because you're going to research something for a project in this as well. Materials. I'm always looking for new materials for courses, and sometimes that means I find them too late in the game, which happened this semester. So I didn't require any that you had to buy, but I am providing them in the graphic lab for you to actually look at. Now, this isn't just a chore like, oh, I think they should be required to do a reading and I'm going to give them this. These books are actually going to make your life a lot easier. There's not a huge amount of text in the sections I'm having you read. There's a lot of pictures and examples, and they will make it a lot easier for you. So please actually read the books that I am providing. So you are taking this course at the same time the beginning students are taking this course, and you're wondering, why are you advanced? What's the big difference here? So a big difference between this course and the previous courses you've taken is that your personal responsibility is primarily something you want to focus on. It is increased. I'm not going to hold your hand as much or give you as intense art direction as I've done in the past. This will help you hone your ability to work independently and transition more into internships and professional world of work. But I'm also here to help you. So though you are going to have more personal responsibility, I'm still here as your support system. It just means that you're going to probably get started on projects more on your own without intense scrutiny or direction from me beyond the project brief and lecture. You will be working with a lot more content than you have in previous classes, so that's text and image. And with more content, it creates more challenges. So that is a big difference of beginning and advanced. And because of the more content, you will need to plan much more than you've done in the past. Some of you are pretty bad about making sure that you do thumbnail sketches. And this is up class that you are really going to need to start sketching more, especially layout design when you're trying to get through a lot of ideas and get through getting the ideas out in a much faster and effective way than you would on the computer. When I help you, I need to see those sketches and those type studies because it will make your life a lot easier. So please, oh please, oh please, do some of that sketching and do the research that I've required of you. So you may wonder why I have work days in class. This goes for classes on all of my, throughout the semester and all of my other courses, why we have work days. This is a big difference between learning all of this content online for free on YouTube and having a residential class experience is that I actually need to see you work in order to help you get better at it. So I might see you struggle doing something that there's a quick task that will do it for you using the software. I won't notice that unless I actually see you work. Sometimes you won't come across an issue until I'm behind you and you're like, oh, a quick question. I've always struggled with this. You don't want to struggle in silence. So this really helps me watch you work and help you get better in a supportive environment, which I couldn't do if you're working late at night in your dorm room. Other things that are different in this course than there in previous classes You'll be sitting in your with your cohorts. You'll see that there's a certain section that all the advanced type students have to sit in. And I will ask you to start class independently. So I'll write instructions on the board. Most of the lectures will be watched, so you want to make sure that you bring headphones. If you don't have headphones, there'll be some in the back of the lab, but you want to make sure that you come prepared for that. You can see in the syllabus when I have videos for you to watch on the lectures. It's listed on the syllabus. And you're also taking a course at the same time as the beginning students, so you're all in one group, and you'll watch them work on projects that you've done in the past, and you are going to be asked to give help and feedback to those students during critiques. So you want to set a high standard for your peers. I expect you to come on time as per usual and to be prepared as per usual, but even more so, you are setting an example for the beginning students. So I really, I'm going to be a little bit more strict with you and making sure that you're on task. So big difference is beginning typography, one concept, one word, pretty simplified. This is advanced type. A lot more content, a lot more structure that you're going to have to establish, and a lot more visual interest as well. Beginning, advanced. So the structure of the course will be based on a series of projects, and I thought it would be helpful for me to actually give you an overview now in order to get an idea of what to expect. Week 1 will be a warm-up, and this will be a chance for you to get used to using Adobe InDesign again, using these exercises. They're worth less points in your project. The first exercise I'll talk about in a moment. Everything is provided to you that includes the InDesign file, all the content. The grid is already established. There's paragraph styles. So that is pretty straightforward. You have a short amount of time to do exercise number 1. Exercise number 2, content's provided to you, but then you have to create all of the digital files and format and grid. So that's what we're going to do the first week. Project number 1 is a short project basically to start playing around with how to create things that are visually consistent. So they look interesting, they're part of a series, but there's still some variety. And we're going to do that with book covers. So you'll learn more about this project when I give you the project brief the second week and introduce it, but we'll be working on it for just 3 weeks. The biggest project is the Pulse magazine. Every year, the Sigma Tau Delta student group gives a call out to students and faculty across the campus that submit, students are asked to submit short stories, poetry, artwork in order to be eligible for the literary magazine. Then this group then goes through and edits out which ones they want to use, and then they have a final magazine in the end. They actually print this magazine and create an ebook of it, and it's available in April. And this class, all the students will be designing their version of the magazine. In the end, the student group will determine which one of your designs will actually be used for the final version. So it'll be great. You'll actually get to see your project printed. The last project is a poster series, another chance for you to learn how to create things that are visually consistent, as well as create variety, but also you'll be using those research techniques. So you're going to research the history of 3 type designers or 3 typefaces, and you're going to feature those in a series of 3 posters. And again, they need to feature whether it's a typeface or a designer. You could choose one designer and then talk about several of the typefaces they've designed. Or this example, they've actually focused on the typefaces. So Paul Renner designed Futura, Eric Gill designed Gill Sans, and Adrian Frutiger designed Avenir Next. So to get started with exercise number 1, you'll see that the project brief is at your desk as well as available on Moodle. You were given everything that you need to work on this exercise, so you'll need to download those on Moodle. That includes the Adobe InDesign file and the resource files as well. But you are going to design the aesthetics. So that means you choose the fonts, you choose the color palette, you move things around based on the grid. And then you're also going to read the content that I have asked you under resources. This is going to help you get started. Again, this isn't a lot of text, it's a lot of images in here, so I really expect you to flip through these books and this content just to give you an idea of what you're working with. One of the images that is one of these books you'll see is the structure of the page and grid. So you'll see what flow lines are, spatial zones, how to use a modular grid like this. This is due next class because I'm given everything, all the content to you. You don't need to spend a huge amount of time creating all that. So you're just going to move things around, create a style, and turn it in on Moodle. So you'll see the little screenshot down below, shows you what it looks like on Moodle, the project brief, where the resource files are, and where you're going to turn it in.